Welcome. In the U.S. this weekend, we celebrate Memorial Day. It's a holiday where families get together, have picnics, there are parades, barbecues, people visit cemeteries, and honor their loved ones who've passed away. Today, I've decided to read to you a short story shared by my friend Anette Carter. It is, in my opinion, a perfect message for this week. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Decoration Day was what we called Memorial Day in 1961 when I was a 7-year-old child in Idaho Falls, Idaho. It was a day in May when families went to cemeteries to decorate the graves of their loved ones. But this Decoration Day was the first one we would be bringing flowers to my brother Sherman's headstone. I missed him so much. He was my big brother, 3 years older, who used to kiss me as a baby so constantly that Mom said it would make me cry. He would always include me in his adventures, whether it be inventing a movie projector or swinging me on the backyard swing. Once, when he was himself at the highest point, he jumped out and broke his arm. Dad chopped down the swing the next day, and we just had a short metal one that never seemed to stay in the ground. When his friends wanted to play, Sherman would take me, even though they would say, "Don't bring your little sister." One memory that stands out on my mind was when it was autumn and the garden had died, and Sherman got a group of his friends to dig a hole. It got bigger and bigger. Next, they used a pulley to bring dirt up. I was mesmerized and curious, so I got on my coat and watched at the edge. Then, when I asked Sherman why they were digging, he said defiantly, "We're digging a hole down to the devil, and when we find him, we're going to kill him." My eyes got wider and wider as I waited to see the devil pop up at any minute. Sherman was killed suddenly when he fell off Grandpa's tractor and crushed by the hay wagon it was pulling as they were baling the hay on Grandpa's farm. In an instant, he was gone. My world was forever changed. I don't remember doing this, but it was a paper Mom had saved for 56 years until she passed away in 2016. She had spared showing it to me while she was alive. On the paper, I had glued trucks and cars and ice cream sundaes, toys and candy cut out of magazines, and on it I had printed, "Sherman, if you come back, I will get you all these things." When I pulled this paper out of the few things Mom had saved of my childhood and read it 56 years later, I burst into tears. My heart going out to my 6-year-old self who didn't understand the concept of death and the door that was closed temporarily. No one had ever died in my world before. So on this Decoration Day in 1961, it was an especially poignant one. My mother cut and brought irises, flags as we called them, of all colors, and fragrant lilacs in buckets for his grave. Although I later found out that the day of decorating was founded to remember deceased soldiers of the Civil War, I only knew it as the day we went to the Annis Little Butte Cemetery and decorated deceased members of our family, which included Spencers, Barons, Carrs, my baby Pittman cousin, and now my brother's headstone. The tradition of putting flowers on graves began around 1866, with both the Union and Confederate sides claiming to have been the first to honor their war dead with spring flowers. It was the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, passed by Congress in 1968, that officially changed Decoration Day to Memorial Day, and it went into effect in 1971. At our little Annis, Idaho cemetery, I remember the very old World War I veterans playing taps as we solemnly placed our hands on our hearts. Even as a child, I was taught to stand and honor our flag. My grandpa, who lived in Annis, served in World War I, and my dad in World War II and the Korean War. They had fought for my freedom. After the cemetery, we left to go to my grandparents' home and front yard for a picnic and badminton games surrounded by Grandpa's peony bushes. But first, I ran to the corner end of the cemetery to a little grave that said Baby Ruth on it. It was a tiny one with a baby girl cradled in stone in what looked to me like a seashell. I felt very sorry for her because she was so old. 1923, and no one ever decorated her grave. So I always saved a lilac, especially for her. Decoration Day was a special day for our family and for me, but I didn't realize how special it would be until 56 years later, when our daughter, our only daughter, died in a car accident May 25th, and I wanted her funeral to be on Memorial Day. I was 31 when I gave birth to her, and she was 31 when she passed away suddenly. We don't have a headstone to decorate, but we set aside time to reflect on our life with her, and we are grateful for the few ashes that we have of her body to put in a treasured box. Nestled next to her is her well-loved teddy and a small sign that says, "I wish there were visiting hours in heaven." I like to think that she is best friends with baby Ruth there, and I just know that she is up there with her Uncle Sherman plotting to torture the devil. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed that story. And I hope you are able to honor your loved ones who have already passed through the veil of death. I am confident that they miss us also. Until next week, please remember that it is possible to grieve well. And let us continue to practice extraordinary compassion toward ourselves and others.